Eastpointe City Council on Tuesday, November 15th, 2016 at 7 p.m. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, as the Thanksgiving holiday nears, let us all take a moment to reflect on all that we are thankful for. We are grateful to live in a country that is based on a democracy that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people. We are grateful to live in the city of Eastpointe, where we continue to display what we can achieve and when we work toward a common goal. We are grateful to be surrounded by family, friends, and a community that is willing to extend a helping hand whenever we are reaching out for support. And most of all, we are grateful for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a proclamation tonight for Mrs. Elaine Ruth Burton, who is celebrating her 90th birthday. So Mayor Pro Tem Michael Kleinfeld is going to be reading that into our minutes.
All right. Whereas Miss Elaine Ruth Burton Nee Wolf was born on November 11th, 1926, and whereas Miss Burton was an orchestra pianist and captain of the girls' basketball team at St. Philip Neri High School, class of 1944. And whereas Miss Burton volunteered as a candy striper during World War II, and whereas Miss Burton worked at J.L. Hudson's until her marriage to her high school sweetheart, Francis Chuck Burton, on September 11, 1948, and raised 13 children, 7 boys and 6 girls. And whereas Miss Burton has lived in Eastpointe for over 21 years. And whereas Miss Burton continues to provide love, nurture, and guidance for 28 grandchildren, 15 great-grandchildren, and is soon to be a great-great-grandmother. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Council for the City of Eastpointe do hereby proclaim that Elaine Ruth Burton's 90th birthday shall be enjoyed and celebrated by one and all, and further encourage those in the community to join with us in this momentous and important celebration. And finally, on behalf of our community, we wish Miss Burton a most happy birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Please call the roll.
Councilman DeMonico.
Here.
Councilperson Lucido.
Here.
Councilperson Kleinfeld.
Here.
Councilperson Marion. Here. Mayor Pixley.
And with that, we'll start with the first hearing in the public. Does anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard at this time? Mr. Jakubiec?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, and Administration. Tonight, I just want to thank the people, the businesses that helped us financially with our cause to shut down the RTA. And I want to thank them and the residents who took signs from us and helped us defeat the RTA. It was nice to see a community come together and work towards a common cause. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else? Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is closed. With that, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from a regular meeting in November the 1st, 2016. Can I get a motion for that?
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of November 1st, 2016.
Support.
With support, any corrections? Please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Councilperson Marion.
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido.
Yes.
Councilperson Kleinfeld.
Yes.
Mayor Pixley.
Yes. We have no scheduled hearings tonight, no unfinished business. We'll move to reports from administration, and we'll start with our city manager, Mr. Duchesne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of quick reports. As mentioned in the last council meeting, I'll be holding a meeting with the county executive's office regarding animal safety in the community and future relationship development.
And we did hold that today with very progressive meeting. There'll be more to come from that, but I think we'll work out that relationship very well and include additional parties in that, including the Humane Society, for a more global answer to some of the challenges that the communities are having across Macomb County. And I appreciate the executive staff and the department's Health and Human Services and Animal Safety Services participation in that. A second item is I have provided some briefings regarding court staff. I know we still owe you the financial analysis on that, but that may take a little discussion, so please feel free to contact myself or Mr. Blum when he returns. He is not with us today, having another procedure done, and we'll be happy to have any individual discussion before council, before I put it on the council agenda for any deliberations and action. So that is all, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Duchesne?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I had a couple questions. Mr. Duchesne, for the meeting with the county executive's office, does it sound like we'll be able to, well, will they be able to expand Macomb County Animal Control so that they can handle Eastpointe?
They have that intent to not only expand for us, but a couple other communities that they could service. I think the very exciting possibility is to work out through Chief Animal Control Officer Randazzo's office some relationship with the Humane Society, and I urge them, and they are very supportive with dialogue with the commissioners to not only particularly expand their facility, but actually they'll have a vacant building coming up pretty soon in the area. The juvenile, I'm trying to say juvenile court, I guess is how I would call, or well, yeah, juvenile court. If that building's open, they would then move some of their operations for adoption center and other things. They have some very good plans to that, which would free up not only floor space there, but then work out a sort of an exchange program with the Humane Society to also utilize their facility, which is very much underutilized north of the county complex, a couple miles. So I guess I best said it's kind of like the way the sheriff's department works, an exchange program with guests. Only we treat hopefully these guests as well or better than our other guests in the county. And I think that's a very positive sign. So I'm very optimistic we'll work out something very positive.
We said the audit was going to be December 13th?
Yes, sir. Request to Plant Moran to move it so they could have their portion that night.
What time did we say? I didn't see.
I believe I put it down as 6:30, but I have to check.
Well, looks like John will check for me here. Also, then just one. You have
it is 6? Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. And then just one, I didn't see a report about Able Electronics, and then I also saw they were in the check register again this meeting, another $85 for something.
They're working on preparing that. Both parties that were assigned to do that were somewhat involved this past week in that.
Yeah, this again it seems like this sounds like something that would, I don't remember exactly when we installed the police cameras, but it says reset cameras with mics to resolve audio issue, $85. It seems like there are a lot of these popping up that I would think would be handled under some sort of warranty. So I'll
check
wait
that
for that
and have
report
that.
then.
Yes, I think we'll have that. Yeah, well, we should have, depending on all the parties involved in that, being available, we should have that shortly.
Was a date set for the further discussion on this animal control with the county?
It really wouldn't be another date right now. It'd be an ongoing thing. We'll be doing it all the time, and we're looking at their options and what they can do. In the meantime, the director's office and deputy police chief will be working with Chief Control Officer Randazzo for alternatives with the humane shelter. So there's an interim step. We'll be able to start doing some things with them immediately. And then in the longer term, as they move their facilities and reassess their plans, and hopefully gain further support, there'll be a more permanent solution in place.
So we won't be using the other facilities?
Probably not, well, certainly not in the future, and probably not even in the midterm. Short term, there will be a little transition period. We'll still be using them because we really don't have other options right now. But I suspect there'll be a discussion within the next couple of weeks that could move that in a very positive direction.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right, and Mr. Blum is not here tonight. We hope he's doing well. And we move on to our city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I only had one item for my report section this evening. City administration has requested dangerous building hearings be scheduled for next week. Those will take place here at in the council, or at City Hall rather, beginning at 1 o'clock on Monday and Tuesday. There are 5 hearings scheduled for next Monday and 5 hearings scheduled for next Tuesday. And that is all I have for this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions for our city attorney?
Thank you.
We'll move on to our new business, and the first item is the approval of the design and construction engineering services for the 2016-17 CDBG pavement reconstruction program on Raven from Stevens to Spindler. Do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to authorize engineering firm Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick Incorporated to prepare design plans, specifications, and provide construction observation services related to the City of Eastpointe 2016-2017 Community Development Block Grant Pavement Reconstruction Program, Raven Street from Stevens to Spindler, CDBG project number C6-06-2A. The amount of $228,375 is outlined in the firm's proposal dated November 3rd, 2016, and authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents related to this contract.
Support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Quick question, though. I'm just curious why we phrased it as Reconstruction Program Raven instead of Raven Street Reconstruction Program. It just seems like that, I read that 3 times as, what street are we working on here?
Well, that is kind of a strange syntax I thought we've used, but
I mean, it's a grammatical thing.
I think the 4 years of engineering school tend to warp people after a while, so when they recommend those actions,
could add
they
a
tend
couple
to,
more
they
words
tend to
in there.
talk funny, yeah.
In the
Okay.
future, I guess I had a couple. And I did drive down there today, and that street could definitely use some work, so I think this
It's been on the
sounds good to
program
me.
for a little while.
Please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Marion,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Mayor Pixley.
Yes. Item B is the approval of a massage therapy business license for Eyes by Janine LLC at 21225 Kelly Road, Suite Number 2. We have a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve a massage therapy business license for Eyes by Janie LLC at 21225 Kelly Road, Suite Number 2.
Support.
Move and support it. Any questions or anything? Please call the roll.
Councilperson Marion,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Mayor Pixley.
Yes. Item C is the delinquent special assessments and water bills. Do we have a motion for those?
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to authorize the finance director to place the following special assessments on the 2016 water tax bills as follows. Unpaid weed bills totaling $52,485.30. Unpaid invoices related to debris removal, abatement/demolition, tree removal, pest control, and sewer repair totaling $59,865.11. And delinquent water/rubbish bills totaling $1,071,468.57 in accordance with the finance director's report dated November 15, 2016.
Support.
Move and support. Any discussion on these? Please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilperson Marion,
Yes.
Mayor Pixley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido.
Yes.
Our next item is the approval of the engagement letter with Michael E. Ellis.
Madam
We'll
Mayor,
get a motion on that.
Madam Mayor, I motion to approve the city's execution of an engagement letter with Michael E. Ellis to provide appraisal services regarding vacant land, parcel number 14-30-426-006, located at 16410 Stevens.
Support.
Move and support it.
Is there anything, Mr. Duchesne, you wanted to introduce about this, or just, I have a couple questions?
Just, this would be the beginning of a process of evaluation where the city would be interested in acquiring this property for future public service purposes. Mr. Ellis is a well-established commercial appraiser and would execute that in accordance with the standards that they subscribe to and provide us with the report and opinion.
I think my first question, though, is on the last page of it. It's the second from last bullet. Environmental issues, I didn't understand is this appraisal going to address those and let us know potentially how expensive it would be, or I could not tell by that bullet point. It says a statement as to whether or not the property is encumbered by any environmental hazards or toxins, and it says that they wanted us to provide, they wanted to assist in the completion. They request that from us. Mr. Ellis is requesting that from us. So is that not part of the appraisal? I would think we need to know about that before doing this, because
What would typically happen in this case is that any governmental reports that would be available we would provide what we have available to Mr. Ellis, and he would work with the city to acquire any other reports that are available in the public record.
I'm just wondering, what if it comes back, something $1 million to fix or something, this environmental issue, or if it comes back and it doesn't cost anything? I think that would make
That will be in his report. He will state what conditions are encumbering the property, what challenges or opportunities you would have, and then when you receive your report and you discuss that, you would have to weigh those circumstances based on his guidance.
And then the owners are allowing us to do this appraisal?
Well, the appraisal can be done with the existing records and visual inspection of the property. Anything else would be requested of the property owner if indeed it was necessary. And if they refuse, we still have we have several options at that point to proceed, depending on what Mr. Ellis and firm would like to find. If that includes some on-site work, then he would be in contact with Mr. Albright regarding provisions for action should the party not be willing to do so initially, based on how we are approaching this project. But that would be the first step, would just be voluntary, if necessary at this point.
In my conversations with Mr. Ellis, in his understanding that there are no structures on this property, he informed me that he did not believe it would be necessary to actually enter the property for purposes of conducting his appraisal. If for some reason his opinion of that changed, then we have the option, number one, of asking for compliance, and if that was denied and the city wasn't voluntarily permitted to allow its appraiser to come onto the property, then we would be able to get an order from the circuit court allowing that to take place.
So then I also see, speaking of the order from circuit court, this price wouldn't include any, well, it says not included are meetings and conferences, an actual trial preparation and court testimony. So if we did need, would this get much more expensive if we did need to do any of that?
There's a possibility that there could be additional expenses at some point in the future. It's unclear at this point. This is the first step in that process, and once the city has this appraisal, then the city will be able to approach the property owners with that And if they accept that, then there would be no need for additional action. If for some reason they came back and with a counteroffer that was way out of line with the appraisal, or they simply did nothing or rejected the appraisal, then the city then would have to file an action in the court. Mr. Ellis would be the city's expert witness in that case to back up how he came to the value in his appraisal. So that's what he's indicating, that if for some reason he's called for a deposition in this case, or he has to appear for a trial, so it's impossible to say at this early stage if that would even come into play. It may not.
Okay, thank you. And then just one more question is, I mean, this seems expensive to appraise an empty plot of land then, if we can mainly do it without even, is this not expensive? What if there was a building? Would this be much more expensive? It seems like 8,500 is a
Oh,
lot.
yes, it would be much more expensive. This is typical in the industry, and again, you're buying expertise and an opinion and expert testimony later on, not, I mean, it reminds me of those stories about, knowing which lever to turn is what you're paying for, much less turning the lever.
Mr. Ellis was actually the second person. The first person that our office contacted, and it was in no particular order, I just happened to contact, I had 3 different individuals that I was selecting from, and I happened to call the one individual, and they had provided services on behalf of the city at an earlier date for another development here. And when I informed that person that what this matter involved and that it could possibly involve litigation, then they suggested that I contact Mr. Ellis, and I said, well, he was going to be my second person to call. And when I did get in touch with him, he, knowing that there may be litigation in this case, he was completely comfortable with that.
Okay, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Marion?
Yes.
Councilperson Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
No.
Item E is the introduction and the first reading of ordinance number 1133, which relate to the bylaws of city council. We have a motion. This was about,
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1133, which would amend the bylaws of city council, which may allow speakers addressing the city council to appear on camera.
Support?
move to support it. Any further discussion on this? All right, please call the roll.
Councilperson Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Marion?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
Yes.
And item F is the adoption of resolution number 1822, City Council 2017 meeting dates. Do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 1822, establishing the 2017 regular meeting schedule for the Eastpointe City Council in accordance with Section 5 of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976.
Support?
Move to support. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Marion?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
Yes.
And our last business is the payrolls and bills. Can we get a motion on those?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve payment of the bills in the amount of $1,970,061.85.
Support?
Move to support. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilperson Marion?
Yes.
And our next item is a hearing of the public, the second hearing of the public. Does anyone wish to be heard at this time? Sir? Please come forward and state your name.
Good evening, council members, Madam Mayor, Robert Hagan, 25-year resident of Eastpointe. Addressing the issue with the animal control and what's going on after the fact with them, with the animals that are taken in by Eastpointe Animal Control. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you as a resident and an animal rescuer for the speedy process that this has been going to be able to look into other options that may be available instead of using the Animal Care Hospital of Sterling Heights. One of the only questions I really have is, and I know it's very difficult to try to put any type of timeline in this type of situation due to the infancy that it is in, but just out of curiosity, how much more time is the Eastpointe Animal Control going to be using that specific hospital? And if so, if it's going to be some sort of lengthy period of time, is there absolutely any way that outside 501c3 nonprofit rescues could take in some of those animals after their holding period is done? And it kind of varies with my research with the law, whether it's going to be 48 hours or if it's 5 days or if it's 10 days. But is there any possibility that anything can be done to incorporate rescues to be able to help with the transitional process with going on over with Macomb County Animal Shelter? See if that was going to be a possibility at all.
And we can't answer your question directly at this time.
Fair enough.
But we can make a comment during the mayor and council reports, or you can talk to Mr. Duchesne afterwards
Got
and
that.
see what his input is related to that.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you very much for the speedy process when dealing with this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else? Seeing none, the second hearing in the public is closed. We'll move on to mayor and council reports. Start tonight with Mr. DeMonico.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hope everyone voted on Election Day, and we'll go forward now with a lot of different votes, went a lot of different ways. RTA was mentioned, did not go through, and then the library millage did go through locally. Second, Deck the Halls was sold out and was a great event. I bought probably more stuff than I should have, but it's for a good cause. And again, Veterans Day was just the day after Deck the Halls. Thank you again to all that serve the country and will in the future. And I visited the Military Museum over the weekend also to learn a bit more. Hope everyone else was able to make it out that weekend. Check out the Girl Scout troop presentation that they gave. And then over the weekend, I did the Big Bird Run. I just ran a mile this time, no 5K, but did not take first in my in my group this time. And everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, and hope to see you at the tree lighting on December 7th. And then, yep, that was all. Sorry. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Marion.
Well, I got a list this time. I will also talk about Deck the Halls. I was on the committee this year. They said they needed help. I says, I'll help. And Linda thanked me a couple times over for the job I did. But there's a whole gamut, a gang of volunteers that make that happen. And after seeing the behind-the-scenes work of what it takes to make that happen, you have to be thankful of all the volunteers. And we really need to be thankful of Linda Weissop. She makes that what it is.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, the city needs to, both us and Roseville, start planning in the not-so-distant future, find somebody to replace her of that caliber. It's going to be a difficult job. My hat's off to the job she does. It's just phenomenal. It was just a terrific event, I thought, and enough said on that. I'm actually looking forward to next year already. On Veterans Day, I went out to Stahl's Automotive Museum. They do a big open house on Veterans Day out there along with about 1,500 other people that were there, and took that in. It was quite an event. They do a matching thing, and they raise a lot of money. With his automotive show that he puts on there, the night before they had a sit-down dinner with Jay Leno as entertainment, and raised about, I heard it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 grand that night. His whole event over the 3-day weekend is supposed to turn in $100,000. I also went to the hockey game that they had, an alumni game at St. Clair Shores Ice Arena. I don't think there's ever been that many people in that one arena. I could not, but there was over 2,000 people in there, maybe more than that. I'd never seen that many people in that hockey arena. The big thing about Stahl's Military Museum, on November 25th, he's gonna have an open house, free of charge. Go out, check it out. If you haven't been there, 25 Mile and Gratiot, it's worth it. It's phenomenal. He's got some musical apparatuses in there. I don't even know what you call them. There's the guy's at like an organ keyboard playing this thing that is built and encompasses half the building. It's a musical technology that I've never seen before. A couple big things on my dog. We have water, Mr. Pry. Thank you. We're excited about it, but all things take time, and it's moving along. We met the other night, and we've decided we've got a little issue with the video. We're going to add another camera to make sure we keep that area under surveillance. We're going to have a special, we've authorized the money out of my dog to pay for another camera to make sure that we keep that area secure. The little library that we put in there right now is absolutely ready to bust. It's so full of books. It is phenomenal. I didn't think that would hold as many that are in there, but it's huge. The big thing that I'm surprised is how many times I've driven by there and seen 3 to 4 people checking it out. A couple of them sitting on the bench, a couple people inside pulling stuff out of there, looking at it. I've challenged a couple other gentlemen I know in the city that are carpenters to try and get them excited about maybe making one for one of the other parks. So I'm going to keep bugging them about it. And, you know, I says, go out and check out my workmanship. See what kind of a job I did. I says, let me see if you can do better than me. So I don't know if that's going to happen, if I can goad them into doing that. The Big Bird Run was a huge success. My dog had a group out there, a couple extras added from the Rec Authority. We had 15 volunteers. We handled all of Huron Park on negotiating that. It was like a maze for them to run through that, and quite honestly, if we weren't out there directing them, I think half of them would have got lost. It was just it was just very taxing because of the technical environment of how they had to lay it out, but it was a certified course this year for 10K, which is something unusual for some of the 10K runs, but it's a requirement that a lot of runners need to have recorded times on certified 10K runs. So that was a big point that they had to have that certified. Ironically, the My Dog group had an incident with a dog at large in the park, you know. Go figure. So we're still following that up because we were a little upset about what happened. We had a couple of runners that were attacked, as well as myself and my son, and we're out there chasing a couple of dogs that were just running loose from a neighbor that let them out. And we're still following up on that. The other thing I want to thank the city for is the asphalt patch that was put in at Grove and Forest. It took out a giant speed bump, and for whatever reason, it was a burnout pit for a while there. People just having to see how far they could light those rocks down the city. But it's a good temporary fix. Unfortunately, what that means is we're probably going to have to put a bond issue together down the road to fix some of the major intersections in this city. Another one that needs to be looked at is Forest and Hayes. I purposely avoid that intersection now because it's so rough driving through that. We need to get something out there to kind of level that, especially before a snowplow hits it, because the guy's going to lose his front teeth if he catches that with a blade. There's a pretty good chunk of cement sticking up there. But I think we're going to end up with have to get a bond issue to get some major roads work done in the city and some sewer work. And if we want to stay ahead of it, so that we keep up on our infrastructure. And that's all I have.
Mrs. Zito.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone that went out and voted last week, especially for those who voted to renew the millage for the library. It's was much needed and very much appreciated. The library offers a ton of different great events, and for a matter of fact, I have lists tonight of a bunch that are coming up, especially with the holidays. First of all, the Fall Trivia Contest with Sandy and Dan Baker is Tuesday, November 22nd at 6:30. And then also, the library will be hosting the DIA on Thursday, December 1st at 6:30 p.m. It's about coffee, tea, and chocolate, all of our favorite things. So hopefully everyone can get out there to check that out also. And then Santa Claus will be coming to the library, so if everyone wants to come get their family pictures with Santa, he will be there on Monday, December 5th at 6 p.m. I would also like to take the opportunity to remind anyone who is in the 8 Mile Homeowners Association that next Wednesday is your meeting, and they would appreciate everyone to come out. They have been suffering a little bit with enrollment, and so if anyone is ever interested in joining that association, please come to the meeting next Wednesday. It's at Pleasant View Elementary School, and look into it. It's a very great group of people, and they do a lot for the community. And that will be it for this evening.
Mr. Kleinfeld.
I just want to echo thanks to everyone who came out and voted. That's really important, and want to say congratulations to everyone who won their elections. And that's all.
I have a number of things. Mr. Marion, I would really like to thank you. This is your first time you've ever worked on the auction, and I think you found out all the work that goes behind that auction. They did really, really well. We don't have the final figures yet, but it is an outstanding event. And Linda Weissott, the chamber board, we lucked out when Linda retired from the city of Eastpointe, but she's been a phenomenal person and increased our membership tremendously. I think it's really one of the most successful chambers because we have so many events, and they're really very good at contacting. And the bazaar, or the auction, was really fun, except I bid too much on something from the University of Michigan, but that's okay. Tree lighting is coming up on the 7th of December. That's one of our favorite events here. And the Lions Club will be here with hot chocolate and or hot cider, I think it is, and donuts again. But that's a great event. Rare really works very hard in putting this together, and we always appreciate it. I've been to Stalls, that auto museum that's out there that Mr. Marion mentioned several times. I think that is one of the best. It is a hidden treasure in Macomb County.
It's one of the best ones in the country.
I think it absolutely is. I think it far surpasses so many of them. And the thing about all the cars that are in that museum is they're all functioning. They're all licensed, and they're operable. So that's one of the exciting things. And then when you walk in there and you hear the theater organ and you see all the rest of the musical instruments, it's really a phenomenal location and such a treasure to the Macomb County. And they've been so good at working with different veterans group, and particularly with this Veterans Day weekend. So very, very exciting. I attended also, the March of Dimes was raising some money locally, and I went over there and put my name in the big raffle and encouraged some other people, and I didn't win anything, but I know that they raised a lot of money that day. Voting was tremendous. We had such a phenomenal attendance. I believe it was 62%, and every single precinct was filled. From the time that it opened all the way up. I was over at the precinct, I think at 10 minutes after 7, and I was 136 when I finally got to vote. So it was amazing, just amazing how many people came out. And we can't all win what we want, but we have to congratulate former councilwoman. Ms. Kleinfeld did an exceptional job. She did really well with her vote. And have to thank you and Mr. Curley for all your work with the RTA. I was at SEMCOG today. We were talking about the RTA and what's going to happen to it now. They haven't made any decisions. So, you know, the millage was just the financial support for it. So they have to do a lot of modifications if they're going to change that vote in any way, shape, or form. So, and I guess that's all I have for tonight. You'll have to excuse my hoarse voice. I think it was because I was arguing about the RTA again today. But anyway, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved?
Support.
Move and support, please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Marion,
Yes.
Mayor Pixley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Kleinfeld.
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned.